Welcome to part 4 of our memorialised reservoir visits to Harold Park Dam, an impounding basin containing 66,750 metres cubed of water relevant to our planning site 24-2887-MAF. The postcode for Google Mapping for Harold Park Reservoir is BD12 0DL. And from the aerial views we can see how close both reservoirs are in proximity. Harold Park containing 66,750 metres cubed of water, and Park Dam, which can be seen in the distance, containing 91,000 cubic metres of water. Both these reservoir drainage outflows share the common watercourse, which is a legacy Victorian drainage system. The principal concern to local residents, aside from the operation, maintenance and testing of the two major dams, is the condition of the Victorian drainage network, which is overcapacitated, particularly at times of flood. Please don't take my word for it. Consult the Council's own spatial environmental assessment, produced ironically by the reservoir engineer, which identifies the major concern with watercourses in Bradford to be overcapacitance and lack of maintenance. The overcapacitation of these impounding basins has historically largely come about as the local authority failed to develop drainage systems and used the impounding basins as a means of sequestering water. Let's clear up some myths in regard to the Council's failure to provide information. These videos are produced to give local people the knowledge to question the lead local flood authority and the local authority, such that they may question them on the maintenance, testing and investment of structures discharging downstream, impacting on people's property and safety. Where, in any case, the Civil Contingency Act of 2001 requires the Council to produce an off-site emergency plan such that people can mitigate any risk. You can only mitigate risk if you're made aware of what it is. Having looked at the Southern Watercourse in part 3 of this series, I do hope you'll join me on part 5, which looks at the deficiencies in the Easterly Watercourse, also known as Spenback, which is the common watercourse for both Park Dam and Harold Park Reservoir. Like Park Dam, the amenity value to people and wildlife cannot be overestimated. Before we begin a walk around the compass to look at what we find at Harold Park, we'll have a quick look at some of the wildlife that we will see en route. I think it is worth reiterating some points from previous videos, and in the light of the letter on file from the reservoir engineer. The inundation maps and reservoir engineer statement are placed together. Number 1. The EA LiDAR maps are only estimates, as indeed is the estimation of the capacity of the dam, which is not measured. 2. Do not reflect the artificial ground to the front of both dam faces, according to the BGS definition of artificial ground. 3. Take no regard of cascade action, either by virtue of a common watercourse or a critical weather event, or the combined action of both. 4. The best way to avoid unforeseen risk causing catastrophic breach, e.g. an aircraft accident on the face or an earth movement causing failure, is not to put people in a zone of destruction. Given the Victorian watercourses are overcapacitated and poorly maintained, it really does make you think as to what the lead local flood authority is playing at, their primary role being to identify risk. For the purpose of identifying features of the reservoir, we will refer to the compass direction from the centre of the dam. As in the case of the Park Dam Reservoir, we are going to walk around Harold Park Reservoir identifying its key features. On the eastern and southern proximities, we will look at the dam embankment. And on the north and western proximities, we will look at the water inlet and water outlet in relation to the dam. Harold Park Dam was dug into an incline or constructed around 1880. Meaning that the area to the north of the dam is relatively shallower, and to the south is where we see the embankments, which are approximately 7 to 10 metres in height above the contour. So here we are, Harold Park, and it's this reservoir here that we're going to look at. So I just want to restrict the video till we pass the children's play area, so we'll go past that. Obviously you can see the layout of Harold Park, which is an enclosure under the 1888 Moor Act. And we're going to look at the structure of the dam. So we've just been to the side of the dam over here on Moorside Road, and then we're going to walk around the dam along the frontage where the main face is and back up just over there. So that's basically a quick tour of Harold Park Dam. So here we can see on this side of Harold Park some of the waterfowl, plenty of fowl on the reservoir as we move around. It's debatable whether or not people should charge for using this reservoir, because the water rights have been reserved under the Mower Act, as I keep saying, but a very healthy population of birds along this face. The opposite face there is going to be the main face of the reservoir at its highest elevation. So we just cleared the children's play area, gone around that, and obviously just to the right there is where we came up the little snicket at Moorside. We're going to go onward and film the raised portion of the dam. Harold Park is very unusual in so much as it has a population of British crayfish. Very, very unusual, likely to be due to the lime in the stone. So as we go round the reservoir, we're now directly above the snicket at Moorside, as you can see there. That's where we walked along and put the camera over, and we're now going along the side of this dam. 56,000 cubic metres of water. So we're just going to sprint along, probably edit the video when we get to the dam face so that we're not boring you with a long expanse of Harold Park Dam. A couple of mallard there. That gull in the distance is a black-backed gull, and you clearly get little grebe and grebe also on the reservoir, with swans, various geese, coots. So a good healthy population of waterfowl in terms of wildlife on this dam, and obviously fish as well. So as we look over to the opposite side, a little bit of history. There used to be boating expeditions in days gone by in the 20s and pre-20 days. Forgotten the name of the boating company that operated just in roughly where the island is. If we go past on the other side, we might actually have a look at the quay. Squirrel in the distance there, I don't know if you can see him. Grey squirrel, nobody's friend. A bit like an environmental planning consultant. So on we go. Our friend the coot, not at all interested. And we'll go to this corner and then we'll have a look at the main face of the dam. Some signage here. Obviously cold water kills, bathing prohibited. So there is a good view of the little island on the opposite face, and we're now on the main face of the dam. So we'll just pause here for a minute and then we'll restart the video on the main dam face. We returned to Harold Park Dam approximately 2 weeks later, where the drawdown of mid-October gave us opportunity to look up close at the water outlet on the western proximity of the dam. This is what we found. Okay, so we have looked at this culvert, but what escaped our attention before is this. As you can see, that is the culvert takeoff from the side of the dam. So it goes through there, and if we go to the other end of it, we'll have a look. So that culvert diameter is a good 2 foot by 2 foot, and then it's a drop down as a sill. If we come back out, if we look over at the diameter of the culvert and then come back out, the extent of this width we're just going to measure, and it's about 20 foot. Okay, so this is the other end of the culvert, and as we go in we can see that this is shallow, and if we look down to the other end, if it's possible to see it, you will be able to see the culvert. So this ramp runs off this spill at an angle and obviously goes through the culvert at the other end. There isn't anything up here at this end, so this ramp runs down and to the other end where there is a culvert. And if I just come back out like so and then head back down the length of the culvert, without slipping, we can see here, if we go back in like so, here is the culvert. As you can see, that ramp sloping down towards this end, and as it spills over it will drain and run through that 2 foot diameter culvert. So there we have it, there and there. Out we come, and we're just going to measure the diameter across the front of the spillway. Okay, so in the dying hours of Saturday, we've come up this ginnel, which is at the side of Harold Park. I don't know if the camera can see over the fence. So this is at the face of Harold Park Dam, and there's this little old public footpath between these two stone walls of some considerable age. So I thought we'd just film this side of the dam before we take a quick walk around Harold Park to conclude our video. Obviously Harold Park Dam is a large raised reservoir of equal capacity and it runs within about 225 metres of the other dam, Park Dam, which is something that obviously we've been focusing on the Park Dam itself. So Park Dam and Harold Park Dam, two distinct reservoirs, each of which are large raised reservoirs under the Reservoir Act, both containing approximately over 56,000 cubic metres of water. And as we can see, this embankment is directly above us, the raised reservoir being Harold Park, or actually the side of Harold Park. We'll put some bearings in the compass on the map work to follow just to give a point of reference, but this is probably the side of Harold Park Dam, not the main frontage, and as you can see it's up there, the raised embankment. So we'll just go onwards and then actually go into Harold Park proper and explore, probably do a lap around Harold Park and Dam and point out some features in terms of the compass, where the main face of the dam is, a little bit of background to Harold Park Dam, and then round the video off. Obviously with Harold Park Dam, what we'd be interested in is the outflow channels from that as well, but at the moment we have a detective story. Here we are. At the moment we have a detective story unfolding. Just found the water outflows from the Park Dam, but they're going to be much of the same. But let's go onwards to Harold Park. So that's the area directly behind the reservoir. We are going to go to the opposite side over there, which I think is the main face of the dam, and this side over here and that side over there are effectively going to be the sides of the dam, and the main frontage or main elevation on the dam front is going to be over there in the distance. So let's go into Harold Park and take a walk onwards and try to document the Harold Park Reservoir. So as you can see from this flight of stairs, this portion of the dam is substantially raised as compared to the other side. So this implies, like Park Dam, it's an irregular basin. It has been known for quarrying, so obviously it will have quarried stone taken out and will have been used in that way. So it's an irregular basin, and you can see the elevation as indicated from those flight of steps. So this is the embankment, the earth embankment, and then what we have is a crest, which is clearly this pathway to the end, and obviously we have a sluice house. So I'm just going to go down this crest, and the crest is probably the same. Oops, that was painful. So we've actually gone down that a lot more steeper than what I thought, without losing my teeth, and you can see approximately 10 metres, probably a little bit lower than the Park Dam, and the embankment a lot less, but nevertheless a crest and an earth embankment. And we've come down to have a look at this thing, which I believe is probably going to be a sluice house. So let's have a look at it. Not very much you can glean from it, other than it's of a Victorian type brick structure. We don't know what's in there, but I would suggest that that's a sluice and a valve takeoff. Obviously a main drain here, and to the front of it we have a field which is used as a football field. Ironically, in the centre pitch over there, that's where a mine shaft opened up and swallowed the council digger link in description. Poor old council grass cutter went down 45 foot. Fortunately nobody was hurt, but on the planning file for the Delphil Middle School the statement was made that there are no mines in the proximity of the dam. So that's what is to the front of this large raised reservoir, and this is the sluice house or sluice, which is probably emptying or regulating water from the main dam. You can see from those bricks, quite an old structure, probably Victorian brick. That sluice probably will go under the ground on a pipe somewhere up there and be taking water off the dam as a drawdown. So there's probably going to be a drawdown valve in there, not a conventional sluice. And that basically is the football field to the front of the site. So let's go back up onto the crest. Up the hill, which is a little bit less difficult than going down it. Up the 8 or 9 metres. It's not actually that steep here at this point. So probably looking at it, is it smaller or larger than Royds Hall? When we get back we'll put the polygon on it and work out some areas. So there we have the Harold Park to the front, showing the raised embankment about 9 metres above the football field below. As I say, I would think they're approximately the same capacity, but our environmental impact request to the agency and the council ask expressly for those details and ask for the maintenance record on these dams. There we have a view of the football field, the centre pitch where the poor old council digger went down, and immediately behind that is the Delphil Middle School development. As we move into sunset over Harold Park on Saturday the 5th of October. So you can see the crest at this end sort of levels off to a much lower level, so it's not going to be maybe as deep at this end, but quite amazing pieces of Victorian engineering. They really did know what they were doing in those days. Led to believe this was a quarry. May I precede this video with some old maps. There we have a coot. Might be close enough to get a decent picture with this camera. So this, now I just go down the remaining side where they undertook boating trips. There's a little bit of a, you can just see it in the distance, the remnants of a quay where the rowing boats would have gone out on the lake in days gone by. Nowadays the council are very risk averse and they don't tend to promote that sort of thing. Heavens above, even Bradford Council have trouble keeping their head above water with bankruptcy at the moment. But as we go onward, you know, you'll see where they used to organise rowing boats and trips out onto the reservoir in days gone by. I mean, obviously this reservoir is located in an enclosed park, so it's a gift and trust. So let's just have a quick look at where this quay would have been. Here on the shallow north face stood the site of the former Moor Recreation and Boating Company, which was opened in 1886 and subsequently was dissolved in and around 1916. Its sole purpose to be steamboats, rowing boats and other boats on the lake. Okay, so we're just looking at the area where the rowing boats would have left. There's a Canada Goose. Let's see how close we can get to the said goose before he makes an objection, which I hope you're going to do in your planning application. But he's pretty tame, he's pretty happy to be there, not too bothered, a reasonably decent goose. There he is, look. Fantastic. Full marks for the goose. And there we have some mallards. They are probably conditioned to think that they're going to receive food. So there is some loose stone to the front, which probably assists these water birds to get in and out of the water. Here we have a land drain probably coming down from the Jug Dam, which you can just see elevated up there, which is a small fishing pool. And you can see this little intake here probably was associated maybe with the place where they had a wooden cabin for the old rowing boat trips. I'll try to see if I can get some pictures of that and include it in days gone by. So we'll just come to the front of the area, a little island over there, and then back, looking back at possibly where the quay was for the rowing boats, and then across to the other side of the dam. So let's just go down. So here we have some of the bird life here at Harold Park. I'll quickly read them. White swan, poacher, scaup, teal, tufted duck, mallard duck, moorhen, mallard, great crested grebe, goosehander, coot and Canada goose. All birds that are seen on Harold Park. Good selection. So just for the sake of completeness, we go directly behind Harold Park Dam, where we find a very small feeder reservoir called Jug Dam, which is currently stocked with fish and is the source of pleasure for many local anglers. Jug Dam is set at an elevation above the main Harold Reservoir and likely feeds efficiently the main dam with gravity, collecting water from the fields below Halifax Road. So just for the sake of completeness, there's Harold Park, and directly behind her in Harold Park, towards the top end of the park, if you like, towards the Horseville end of the park, we go up this embankment. Can anybody guess what's at the other side? Yes, it's another reservoir. It's a little small dam called Jug Dam, one that they stock with fish, and that, as you can see, has carp and various other fishes. So this one is called Jug Dam, quite a small fishing pool, but it's enjoyed by many, including kids, to fish in. So this one's the Jug Dam, as you can see. Just have a look around. A couple of waterfowl on this one as well. Not the deepest, probably deeper in the middle, but fish regularly. And as I say, that embankment probably gives you the an indication of the depth of it. So it's not a particularly deep dam. And then if we look directly behind it, you have the main Harold Park. So we've just basically come up from the boat quay, up this embankment, swung around, and there is Jug Dam. Okay, we're just going to show you this sign. Quite some years ago we made some noise to the council about blue-green algae, and it says this reservoir has developed blooms of potentially toxic algae which can be concentrated by the wind into scum and areas of turbid water. Although algal scum is not always harmful, please keep yourselves and your pets or animals away from any green or blue scum at the water's edge and the water close to it, as sensible precautions against the possibility of contact with this material. The water should not be used for public supply at the present time. Perhaps one of the more sensible signs that the council has put up. So this is about blue-green algae, which has a toxin that can harm health or the health of your animals. So we drop back down to the main dam to look at the water inlet for Harold Park Dam, which is likely draining from the road across the cemetery at North Bearley. Okay, so we're now in the top corner of the dam, and you can really see quite a bit of drawdown activity. And we can also see another watercourse by the looks of it. Let's have a look and see where that's coming in from. Well, let's have a look. You can see it. Here we are. There's the culprit, or culvert. Now this is more like the original stone Moor culverts, or drainage channels. So this is going into the reservoir at a furrow lick. Let's see if we can get down and have a little look. I don't know if you can see that in the distance. This is the main culvert end of the reservoir. Going out like that, onward. Now just over from the culvert over here, if you have a look, the one that we looked at a moment ago, there is this structure here which seems to be another bricked up culvert. As you can see, it's well and truly bricked up. Hasn't been used for some time. In fact, that is bricked. There are 10 monuments for theodolite measurements at 20 metre intervals along the southeast corner of Harold Park Reservoir to monitor any movement of the wall or rim. Well, this concludes our video on our site visit to the Harold Park Reservoir to make observations of fact and establish fact, albeit within the limits of not having the prescribed form of record in full. That said, drawdowns are actually occurring and are likely therefore to be removing scar and sediment from the reservoir. Outflow discharge from the drawdown valve is unclear as to whether it goes into Yorkshire water drainage or internal drainage. Without seeing the prescribed form of record in detail, it is difficult to make scientific or technical comment without the prescribed form of record, particularly in regard to any noted seepage on the east side of the dam near the playing field or any potential wall movement outside normal variance. Our primary concern is therefore the capacitance and condition of the common downstream watercourse for Harrow Park Dam and Park Dam. In particular, when the impounding basins are stressed due to high levels of rainfall which are prolonged or high intensity rainfall events. Other stresses to the impounding basin capacity includes the upstream development and runoffs from an overdeveloped pre-war estate with no coherent drainage programme. Well, how amusing. Here we are in the corner of Royds Hall fields, the fields that don't flood. As we can see, we have some residents who have come to take solace from this gift of water, feeding on the various weeds, grass, and availing of a very substantial pool of water. So there we have 2 mallards and what appears to be 2 females, so that's technically a breeding pair, who are having a whaling old whale of a time in this flood at the corner of Royds Hall Dam, which, as you can see, is very well used. A dog walker in the distance. You can see this highway is called Royds Hall Lane, and it is actually a scheduled ancient highway which is a permissive right of way. If we have a little look here, it's clearly stated. Maybe a lot of people haven't actually read or appreciated that. This is a scheduled ancient highway leading to Royds Hall Farm and cottages. All other vehicles are prohibitive. It's actually a permissive footpath and a permissive bridleway, meaning it is used by permission and cannot be denied because of the agreement on the Moor Act. And it is an interesting little piece of history in its own right. A scheduled ancient highway means something quite profound. So let's have a good look at the extent of the water. That will mean this culvert outflow to the dam is very, very much overcapacitated. And you can see from this little wall that there's a good 2.5, maybe 3 foot of water standing in the corner of the fields. And this is just after one night of rain on the 30th of September stroke early hours of 1st of October, Monday and Tuesday. So I hope this little bit comes out because it's very instrumental in demonstrating what is happening upstream if developments are sequentially built, something that the council really haven't thought about.
Wherever that river flows, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from this road to some other town. That's the way it turned out to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from